Authority gift certificates valued at $500, $250, and $100. Join us to celebrate this achievement for Cayman Brac.
The nation listens. The candidates speak. Subway presents the General Election Debates live in studio on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM and 93.9 in the Sister Islands every Monday and select Wednesdays from 7 to 10 p.m. 2 sessions. One powerful discussion. With Election Day fast approaching, hear what the candidates have to say on the cost of living, housing and development, economic growth, sustainability, education, transport, tourism, immigration, and more. Who has the vision? Who has the plan? Hear it all unfold live, unfiltered, and on the voice of the Cayman Islands. Radio Cayman 89.9 FM and 93.9. Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Visit Radio Cayman's social media pages for debate details. Brought to you in part by Cayman Enterprise City.
Also brought to you by Reflections, UCCI, and Yum. Your mornings just got a whole lot buzzier. Join me, Kathy Miller, every Tuesday and Thursday from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. on The Buzz, Radio Cayman's morning talk show with insight, impact, and inspiration, covering business, policy, finance, health, culture, and the biggest local and global issues impacting our Cayman community, with fresh perspectives from younger generations to stories of inspiration from local entrepreneurs. Tune in and turn up Tuesday and Thursday mornings, 7:30 to 9:30 with me, Kathy Miller, on The Buzz. The Buzz.
If they are talking about us,
living in your head rent-free all this time,
we must be relevant. Radio Cayman since 1976.
Alrighty. Now I can hear it. No, we're good to go. We're back live right here on Radio Cayman. Welcome to Sports Extra. Because you may not have heard the intro, I will just let you know that we have Cayman basketball in the studio. We as in Cayman, recently competed in the One Guyana 3x3 basketball quest that took place in Guyana. We have Cayman's basketball's president, Mr. Dionne Anglin. We have the national coach, Coach Trini Whitaker. We also have national player Dionne Anglin. So it's great to have you gentlemen in the studio. How's everyone this evening?
Good.
Yeah, you're pretty good. Okay, so we're transitioning a bit to 3x3, right? Not fully, but just to get our athletes' foot, wet in the 3x3 arena. How's that been coming along for you all?
Good so far. I mean, it's the third trip we've been on.
Yeah.
And I think we're gaining some good experience so far.
Yeah, awesome. So you had a tough lineup this weekend. Dominican Republic, Suriname, Guatemala, and Guyana. Right? Yeah. So
Trinidad and Tobago. Teams from,
but you guys didn't play them.
Right.
But so those teams that I called are the teams you faced. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So talk to me a little bit about how those games went. Let the people of Cayman Islands know how that went this weekend.
So we played our first game against Suriname. Right? Yes. And they just edged us out there 21-16. I think that was a lot about kind of acclimatizing, so to speak.
Yes.
This time around, we had two guys with experience and two guys that were just experiencing playing at that level of 3x3 for the first time. And so we were really looking forward. We made some adjustments, looking forward to taking on DR in the very next game. And, really early in that game, unfortunately, one of our players, Shadow Garo, he dislocated his shoulder. Mm-hmm. And so that made life really rough for us for our last three games.
How is Shad now?
He's coming along. He was good enough to go into work, so he's so he's coming along. I mean, of course, when it comes to playing now, that's a different thing. It's gonna take a while. It'll probably take several weeks at least before he'll.
No, and you guys are going into like the in-season tournament semifinals.
Yeah, the Blazers aren't happy about that. Everybody else probably is.
Yeah.
but you know he'll be okay. He's a strong guy, and he'll bounce back.
Awesome. So, Mr. Anglin, how do you evaluate Cayman Storm's performance at this tournament, this quest, I should say?
Like I said, I think we did really well. Our last 3 games, to be honest, were extremely difficult, being short one person, because with the nature of how the rules are, you can only take 4 because you have 3 people playing at one time and you have 1 substitution. But if that person, currently as it stands, if that person gets injured, you got to stick with the 3. You can't even, replace that person. So playing one person down, I mean, it's like, if somebody looked at football and you say somebody gets a red card and you're playing with one person short, that one person makes a huge difference in the game. And It was the very same way with us as well, because the game is known as a 10-minute sprint, so to speak. It takes a lot out of you. And so being able to have that extra person allows a certain rotation for the players that will give them a certain rest, because you also only have 1 timeout as a team that you can take. So you have to be very strategic in terms of how you do that. So you can't evaluate it the way that you normally would, given the fact that we had that injury very early on. And to be honest, even though Shad got injured in that second game, we still almost beat the Dominican Republic, who went to the finals. Right?
Yeah, imagine that.
We had them sweating. I mean, when I tell you we had them sweating, we had them sweating. And by the 4th game, you could just see that we were just really gassed. So
Of course.
So it's a lot. But overall, like I said, I think we did well. And at the end of the day, Cayman is a team that's taken seriously. We're probably the smallest amongst all of those countries in there, but nobody takes Cayman lightly when we have to step up to compete. So
that's good.
Yeah.
All right. And then what about you, Coach Trini? What are your overall thoughts on how Cayman performed, especially given the challenges we were faced with?
I think we did a really great job, like what Percy was saying, like by the 4th game we were just gassed. But even in the third game on Saturday, when we played that game, we could tell that we was out of it. We were closing down with our hands down. Our screening rule had looked very weak. So you could just tell that losing shot took a number on us.
Yeah. Especially when it was the first timers that were on the court for majority of the game.
Yeah.
Right? But you had a young one on there who's supposed to be here, by the way. I'm not sure where he is.
Traffic.
And he performed pretty well as well. Justin Collins.
Yeah,
extremely.
Justin actually finished off as our top player in the tournament, and Davi finished as the second best player in the tournament for us. So we were very impressed with him, and I tell you what, there's no substitute for youth, because
Davi can tell us all about that now. Talk about it, Davi. What was that like, being out there, not having that player? How did you guys maintain morale and keep your focus during that tournament?
So when Shad went down, that was in the beginning of the DR game. Yeah, and that was like maybe 30 seconds in. So Shad had maybe hit 1 shot, and then he went for a block, and his shoulder came out. So now it's about 9 minutes left, and we started hitting some threes. I got a little hot. I hit a few threes. Justin got hot. Phil was hitting his layups and his jump shot as well. And honestly, we just wanted to come up with that win for Shad and for Cayman, but it was a tough game. And later that night, we had to play Guyana Georgetown, and that was a very late game, maybe 9 o'clock. And it was just a rough game. Like, I know for sure I was gassed.
Yeah. I watched the games, right? And there was one pass that went by, and Davi was like, y'all better get that.
I had to look at the new guys, Philip and Justin, and I was like, guys, this is on you.
Yeah.
I'm gassed. We need you to come alive right now. And they did. They came alive, and they brought the spark for us, and we got that win.
What would you say was your personal highlight from the matches, and why?
Mine's, I would say, the DR game. It kind of showed us that we could get to the finals and compete with every team in the 3-on-3 as well, because we only lost by a few points, and they were telling us too that we're a good team, and we got to continue playing in more of those, because they don't see us in all of them, but they see us a few times, so we're getting familiar with some of the guys, and they're starting to realize that we're a really good team as well.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Justin, how you doing? Good. You good?
It's good to be here.
Yeah, good. Good to have you. Good to have you. Awesome. So, Davy, how do you think the Cayman team's performance reflects the team's overall potential in 3x3 basketball? Any one of you can answer this then. That's fine.
I mean, I know we didn't do too well this trip, but being out one player and still being able to compete and win one game without a major player, Shadow Garo, it shows us that if we come prepared and if we're strapped, we can get wins and we can go to the finals and maybe win this thing.
Well, you know what? Every tournament you guys have been to, 3x3, you've won at least one game.
We keep improving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and for us being so young in the game, so to speak, no pun intended, in terms of 3x3, because we've been doing this now for about 2 years. And 3x3 has been alive since 2012. Right. So you have a lot of players that and a lot of programs that have 10 to 12 years of development. And in terms of that kinds of experience. So, but one of the great things, about 3x3 is that, especially for smaller countries, if you'll notice it about Cayman, generally when you see Cayman on the world stage, you'd normally find that in sports where there are only a few athletes involved, right? Swimming, you only need one athlete. Track and field, you can just have one athlete. And so generally, as I've quite often referred to it, the population probability, right? Where countries that have 300 million people to choose from, or 2 million or 5 million people to choose from, it's much easier to build a core or elite 10, 12 players. It's much easier. It's much more difficult when you have a country of 80,000 and really in terms of eligible people to play, maybe 40,000, right?
Right.
And so I think we really punch above our weight class, so to speak. And we've been doing fantastic. And so 3x3 is a new element of the game, but that just shows you that we can produce, a few athletes that can match up with anybody in the world, as you've seen for, some of the individual sports. So that's the thing about 3x3 is that with just that few, we can definitely shock the world, in my opinion.
Awesome. In a nutshell, for those who are listening and hearing about 3x3 for the very first time, tell them a little bit about it.
Right, so it's just 3x3 is the same thing as what we call 3-on-3. Right. So, it's just a version of the game really that has taken off, and they've formalized it in terms of, competition. And it's really taken a lot of the basketball world by storm. It's opened up a new fan base and an appeal to a much wider demographic. Kind of like what 2020 did, I think, for cricket at one point in time. It was like a real shot in the arm, right? And so it also became an Olympic sport in 2020. So, it's on the Olympic calendar now. And it's, people, we have done tremendously in terms of when we started off this thing, we were ranked 130th out of 200 countries. Now, in the combined for men and women, we're ranked 53rd in the world. In our youth division, which is 23 and under, and below that, we're ranked 37 in the males and 40th in the females. So that's a big deal. It's a huge jump in the space of 2 years, and we're on the verge of qualifying for the Junior Pan Am Games, which will be a first in our history.
Awesome. That's pretty good. I wanted you to talk more about how the game is played.
Okay. Yep. You got 10 minutes. And it's really continuous, right? There's not a lot of breaks. So when somebody scores, you don't check up and you get, a few seconds to rest. It's continuous play. So, like I said, they call it a 10-minute sprint. And so it's very electric. It's very high paced, and the game is very physical.
Right.
A lot. I think personally, there's a bit more physicality allowed than in 5-on-5. So it's very physical, which makes it physically taxing on the body, right? When you're getting all that contact and stuff. So,
especially the big men, huh?
Yeah. So.
And they really are big.
I saw some giants out there.
Giants.
Yeah. Our center did very good in terms of rebounding, getting the ball on the inside. I loved it. I loved how he was out-rebounding his opponents as well. There are little things that he can work on, but I know that you guys have plans for him, on his inside game.
I think in general, it's made us look at one, being a bit more active with recruiting big players.
Yeah.
I think it's very important identifying them at a very early age. And then I think for a long time, Cayman has kind of had a style of play where you don't appreciate the big man that much.
Mm-hmm.
We're very, guard driven. We have a lot of players that are very athletic and agile.
The NBA has done that.
Very athletic and agile, right? But a lot of people don't appreciate post players that much. But I think, especially from being on the FIBA track right now and competing in those tournaments, you see how important your presence for your big men are. So, yeah.
Definitely. And for those of you who are listening and want to know, the centers, that's like Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, what's his name again that played for the Lakers? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Right.
That's right, the hook shot.
Right.
Yeah,
a beautiful thing about 3x3, though, to be honest, is I think it also emphasizes how important screen and roll is.
Yes.
If you really see teams like the top teams that know how to play, I think it's a beautiful thing to see how that execution is. I think in some ways the NBA has not had a good effect on basketball, where you see a lot of offenses where everybody just clears out and it turns into this one-on-one show.
Yes.
You can't get away with that in 3x3.
No.
That's not.
No, definitely not.
You
I saw that.
have to run screen and roll. And so I think in general, in terms of our culture here, this is something that we're continuously now trying to shift and to really highlight the importance of that, because screen and roll is the most important offensive play in basketball.
Awesome. And we have Justin Collins joining us. And Justin, it was your very first time playing 3x3, though you are a very experienced basketball player, playing college basketball in California and representing Cayman internationally as well for the Island Games. Tell us a little bit about your first experience with 3x3. What did you find most different or challenging compared to traditional format?
I would say we came in there as a group, as a team. We thought we were going to have a greater outcome than what we accomplished during this 3-on-3. I say challenge-wise, I've always faced challenges my whole career during basketball. I've never backed down from anyone. I don't think anyone on our team has backed down from anyone in general. But going forward into it, it was a great experience. Many countries coming together and just seeing the expansion of basketball, how you would think this team from a small country is not that good, but really and truly everybody's good in basketball. You have to treat everybody with the same level of respect coming in. And I think that was pretty much the eye shocker for me, because, like I said, we came in there and we thought we're going to win this. We're going to do what we're supposed to do. And, we lost a couple games, and like I said, it's not the outcome we wanted, but we competed, and the competition, like, everybody competed at a high level. There was not one point where someone just looked bad on someone's team. Everyone looked good. Everyone was playing hard. So, yeah, that was pretty much the one. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And how did you, Davi spoke about his experience adapting to gameplay to compensate for being one player down.
Right.
How did you compensate for that?
So coming from a program, as you said, I played in California, it's always my program we play. We just run and gun, almost like Golden State Warriors. And
you can tell he was the fittest out there.
Yeah. But
sure.
literally, I think also the control of emotions got to me. I'm an emotional player, and for us losing Shadow Garo in that instance, and it just became me, Davy, and Phil Webb. It just came to time to control my emotions and really channel in my inner instincts to really guide these guys as a young leader. And minus one man down, I still think we could have got the job done. I think we played hard. We played our hardest, actually. And,
right.
Like Colin said, there's no sub for us at all. So, we really have to play our hearts out and really just grind it out. And to be honest, I'm really proud of these guys. I'm proud of the coaches because, like I said, it's not the outcome we wanted, but at the same time, we put ourselves in a situation whereas we really had to show our skill at a high level and basically, despite Shad being a very skillful player, you know, there's other guys that step up, like I said, Davy and Phil Webb that really stepped up. So, yeah.
Awesome. What was the most challenging match for you, and how did you approach it mentally and physically?
I think the most challenging was really Guatemala. Playing Guatemala, they were pretty physical.
Okay.
Coming in, we were told that, you know, it's going to be a physical matchup
With them?
no matter what, no matter team.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I learned that the important thing in 3-on-3 is getting into foul trouble, getting teams into foul trouble. You know, once you get teams into foul trouble, it's a free throw match from there on. Then the game's over. But other than that, Guatemala played us very physical. They were hitting shots, running the screen and roll action, like Colin said, really well. And it was tough to guard. But you know, at the same time, like I said, I played at a high level. Davies played at a high level. All of our guys played at a high level, and honestly, it's nothing new to us, and we just have to deal with it. At the same time, we lost, but, you know, it was nothing new to us, and we still competed no matter what.
Awesome. What sort of strategies did you guys discuss to counter the strong performances from, like, Guatemala and DR?
I would say, you know, just being patient, making the game come to us, you know, instead of just... I know we got up a lot of shots, but at the same time, we were down as well, and the thing you notice in 3-on-3, the time is against you once you're down.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had to channel in that version of us, whereas we had to stay disciplined to our defensive principles and offensive principles. And I believe we did a pretty good job of that, despite missing a lot of shots, you know. But at the same time, I think we all communicated really well and, you know, just worked as a team, you know, to try and grind out a win for Cayman. So, yeah.
Awesome. Coach Trini, what key takeaways from this tournament will shape your approach to training and preparation for future competitions like this?
The most important thing I think is moving forward is our physicality. We just can't train and practice to shoot the basketball, and I mean, we got to practice proper screens, proper roll. We have to also understand that even when we down, we just can't force up twos. You know, I mean, take the ones, as you know, in 3-on-3 is twos and ones, and not like 5-on-5 is threes and twos. Take the ones and attack the basket, because as Justin just said, when you get the free throw, when you get into the bonus, it's very important, because at 7 you got 2 shots, and at 10 fouls you get 2 shots and the ball. That's an easy 4-point swing.
Yes.
So, but moving forward, I think physicality has to be a part of the training, you know, not just a lot of shots. And we practiced a lot of schemes, even though we had a short time to prepare versus other competitions, like we had months. Like this one, we just pretty much had a month.
Okay.
And with the men's league going on,
it's difficult to get everybody out,
you know what I mean?
at the same time.
When we got a venue, someone has a game and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, to Coach's point, one of the things we want to touch on is, again, the importance of us having a home, you know, which is, you know, something we're throwing out there now for, you know, our potential sponsors, etc. But this is a key factor in terms of our overall growth, because, again, we're getting ready to get into the busiest part of international competition, which always comes up to the summertime. Leading up to that, you need to be able to train, right? You know, all the other teams, they're training 6-7 days a week. You know, they'll rest one day or something like that. But you know, and for us, that has always been the most challenging thing. We normally get some time at John Gray, but during May and June, it closes down because of exams.
And that's when tournaments are.
And that's the time
summer.
that critical that we need to be peaking for competition. And around those months leading up to the summer are the most difficult months for us to get a training facility. So we're really grateful that, you know, the government has, of course, gotten us a piece of land. But of course now it's, you know, the focus is getting a training facility up that our national program can really take off. I mean, I was part of the first team to actually beat Jamaica, you know, way back in the day. And when we did that, a key component was we had the Lions Center.
Every day, right?
We trained every day. Every day. That's
sometimes twice a day.
Yes.
6.
That's the kind of preparation. Right. That's the preparation, but that's what it took.
So true.
We would not have been the same team had we not had at that point in time like a home, a place that there was no disturbance. When we needed to train, we could train. because it's a craft. You have to respect the craft. You got to put the time in. You're not going to get the results without putting in the time. And so, of course, Truman Bodden has the track, right? Football has multiple fields. At any point in time, they get that. We don't have that situation, but that's something that we're going to change. Definitely. No matter what. So, I think there's a bright future ahead. We got a lot of great young talent coming up as well. And so we have to do our part as an association. So we're gonna do whatever we have to do to make sure that we get a home for basketball.
All right. Awesome. We were talking about your top game against Guyana. Well done. How did you feel about that? About that particular game?
I felt it was a team win. Despite my performance, I'm more proud of the guys always, coaches, like I said, because I couldn't do it by myself. Right. It's 3-on-3, and that's more of a team sport. Yeah. Despite my performance, like I said, you just sometimes you just get into that mood where you're just locked in, and I just felt like I was very locked in that moment to really carry these guys on my shoulder. Like I said, I was probably I'm the youngest on the team, so I'm not saying Davy can't move and everything. Phil can still
say it.
Phil can still Phil can still run and everything, but at the same time, these guys, when they're getting tired, I just feel it. And then
the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, I just have to bring that energy more to my team to really like motivate them to get the job done and stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. Did you guys see that final last night with Gators and Houston?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wasn't that awesome?
Go Gators.
Go Gators. I'm really
Houston
proud of
led all of the way.
I'm not really a Gators fan, but because they're so close to the Cayman Islands, and I was telling someone too, when I was in college in SPC, we visited the Gators gym several times as invitations to watch their games, and vice versa, because the coaches, my coach and their coach at the time, were friends. So it kind of felt familiar, and I enjoyed doing the Gators slap in Colin's face because he wanted Houston to win.
I kind of wanted Houston to win too.
Yeah, he did. Is any particular reason?
The way they play defense.
Yeah, their defense was amazing.
Yeah,
but you know what? They couldn't handle Gators defense when Gators decided to put it on them.
I just want
honestly, Gators deserve to win, but I was cheering for Houston just because of their defense.
The defense was amazing.
The way they schemes and how they coach.
Yeah,
and just only wanted them to win because they beat Duke. We made them have it.
But Dionne, to your point too, what as we were talking about it, another two important things about 3x3 is when the game is going on, nobody's allowed to coach. So the players have to figure things out.
There's a level of maturity.
Right,
as well.
You have to prepare, do your best to prepare before the game, etc. But when the actual time comes for the game, you're not allowed to coach them. So players have to figure it out. If a team makes a change, then guess what? They have to figure it out in the midst of it, whether it be through their timeout or while they're communicating, hey, we got to do this now. They got to figure that all out.
I heard you shouting at them. You were coaching from behind the scenes.
No, we were trying. I mean, no matter what, you're going to be shouting.
I was on the video. I was like, is that my husband?
Yes.
Coach Trini sent me all the videos.
Hey, but you know what? I mean, we were quiet, but we heard everybody else shouting.
Yeah,
so
okay, you know what?
Followed suit.
Hey, we can go ahead.
All right.
But yeah, and in addition to that, it's only a 12-second shot clock versus a 24-second shot clock. Yeah. So you don't even get to rest for a few seconds. Yeah. That's why we say it's continuous. But,
awesome. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. We got Cayman Elite Boxing Federation next, so stay tuned to hear all about their story at a Gloves Over Guns boxing initiative in Jamaica. We'll be right back.
Whether your group works in an office, a hotel, a hospital, or even on the beach, no matter where your group works or what it does, BAF has a health insurance plan for you. You can always count on BAF for affordable, flexible group and individual health insurance plans with professional, friendly customer service. Call them at 949-5089. BAF, your health is their priority.
Easter vacation is just around the corner, and Cayman Airways has added multiple extra flights to some of your favorite destinations, some of mine too. Look here, they got seats available now for booking on extra Easter flights between Grand Cayman and Kingston, La Ceiba, Miami, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and you can even catch a non-stop flight to Montego Bay for Easter. Check it out. You can visit CaymanAirways.com, contact a local travel agent, or call Cayman Airways Reservations on 949 92311. And don't wait too long though, because these extra Easter seats always sell fast. Be sure to add your Sir Turtle Rewards number to your booking so you can earn more miles for more free trips this year. Well, I know where I'm going. I'll see you on board our uniquely Caymanian airline for Easter.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman. We've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Alrighty. I like it. Alrighty, welcome back to Radio Cayman Sports Extra, and we have some young talent in the studio with us, Philip Livingston and Matthew Thompson. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. And Coach Fillmore Barnett. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Welcome to Radio Cayman Studios. I'm fine, thank you.
All right.
I think this is my first time having you here.
Yes.
When did you become coach of Cayman Elite Boxing Federation?
About 9 months now.
9 months now?
Yeah.
Well, look at that. It's the first time you're here. Well, I guess it's the first time for everything.
Yes.
And I believe you two gentlemen fought at the last local fight when it was at the hotel.
At the hotel, yes.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, and you did quite remarkable as well. Remarkably. All right, so you guys had the Gloves Over Guns initiative that was held in Jamaica 2 weekends ago. Performed pretty well. You both won your fights. And now Philip, you have an impressive record. No, Matthew, right? 4-0. Sorry? That's Philip. This is Matthew. I should have let you all go around the table and introduce yourself. I was playing guessing games. Which one is Matthew? Which one is Philip? All right, sounds good. So, how was it? What was that experience like for you guys? I mean, it's not your first bout, but what was it like for you?
Well, for me, it was my first time going away and fighting.
Okay.
So it was a little nerve-wracking, and then especially because I was sick, I caught the flu.
Oh.
Yeah, before the fight, it was a little nerve-wracking. I wasn't sure how it was going to be.
Okay.
But with boxing, you just have to, suck it up and fight.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. And Matthew, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with an impressive 4-0 record, how do you maintain your focus and keep your drive to keep winning?
Look at the future.
Yeah.
And remember, what's set for the future, and just keep working hard for my goals, because I have goals set for the future, definitely. Awesome.
And Philip, how does it feel to secure your second consecutive win and continue building your undefeated record?
Good. First thing I want to say thank you to Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to the Boxing Federation.
Okay.
Elite. Burger King and the board members. It was a good experience because we're looking up to the future. We need to get experience because we wanna go to the Olympics.
Okay.
So we're planning on that. So we need to get as much experience as we can.
Okay.
So we can actually do well.
Awesome. Do you mind me asking what are your ages?
I'm 17.
You're 17?
I'm 14.
And you're 14?
Yes, ma'am.
Really? Wow. Okay. So when did you learn to box?
I learned to box when I was 12.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that here on island?
Yes,
I hear an accent. Where are you originally from?
I'm from Colombia.
Okay. So there was no boxing at all when you were in Colombia?
No.
Okay. Does anyone in Colombia inspire you today?
My grandmother.
Yeah?
My auntie.
Yeah? Why is that?
because I used to like live with them like most of my life.
Okay.
So my mom used to stay here in Cayman.
Okay.
Working.
Okay.
So my mom too. She inspired me too because like she came to Cayman and she working hard.
Okay.
So me and my grandmother and my auntie can live good.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. I like that. And I like hearing stories like that. What about you, Matthew? What was the key to your outstanding performance in your bout, and what aspects of training played a huge role?
Most definitely running. We do a lot of cardio and a lot of sprinting, and Coach Fillmore has a really hard regimen set for us. Some days I really don't feel like going to training.
That's everybody.
Because, it's just, it's a lot of work, but it works.
Yeah, but that's what I love about it. You don't necessarily wake up and feel like doing it, but you push through, and those are the things that matter. Those little things, pushing through and finishing. That's what matters, right? Yeah. That's why you guys are successful, right? You're undefeated, both of you. And what part of Colombia are you from?
I'm from San Andres.
San Andres. Oh, okay.
The island.
My dad loves it there because he played basketball professionally there as well.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. He always speaks about San Andres. All right, sounds good. So, Coach, what about you? What are your thoughts on the performances of both Philip and Matthew in their recent bouts?
Well, like Matthew said, he was sick.
Right.
He done well.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them did well.
Yeah.
And looking at him being sick and going into the fight, I was kind of a bit worried.
Skeptical,
because, thinking that maybe he might want to pull out of the fight. But I know he's strong.
Yeah.
And they was in good condition when we left here
right.
to go there to perform. So I know once he didn't really get worse than how he was, I know he would pull through the fight.
Yeah.
And he proved it.
Yes.
That he's strong and he's
and
good.
He did it. Mm-hmm.
And Philip did a good job. I mean, both of them did a good job. Philip got there and he proved as a young kid, 14 years old. He fought a kid that 15 going 16
okay.
who had a little bit more experience than him, but he did pull through. And he proved that, one day he can become a world champion also, both of them.
Awesome.
And, I have other fighters in the gym that I'm training right now that have good potential.
I was going to ask you about that, if you had others training as well.
Actually, I know we're back to Jamaica.
Okay.
On the 25th of this month.
Of this month, okay.
Yeah. I'm taking 4 other fighters down here.
Okay, so it's not these two?
No.
They need a break?
Yeah. They need a break. Plus the other kids them need experience
as well.
Yeah,
okay.
So I'm giving everybody a fair chance.
Nice.
At everything, not just favoritism of two and who think they're the best.
Right, I got you.
Sometimes, you got to go out there and you might think they're not the best or they're not good enough to really perform, but when you go to the event, they will perform and they show you a difference,
Okay, awesome. So when did you become a boxing coach? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I from Mr. Dalmain days.
Yes.
I used to be a fighter myself.
Okay.
I trained for 5 years. I had 4 fights.
Okay.
My first fought I fought in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
I fought a kid 26 and 3.
What years were those?
That was 19. I think it was about 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I fought in the CSC games. Me and Foster Kelly and Ernest Barnes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We 3 of us. We went there to represent Cayman, and it was a good experience. It was my first fight.
Was Leroy Pert in there as well?
No.
No, not that one. Okay.
No, not at that time.
Okay.
But I start training, being a co-trainer with Mr. Dalmain.
Okay.
Sometime, some of the guys didn't come, so I pick it up from there and help coaching at the time. And, years go by that, I pull out of being a coach or being a fighter.
Yeah.
Get with family and, things start to go different way.
Right.
but I never did leave.
Right, your
boxing.
heart never
My
left.
heart never
Yes.
leave. You know,
Right.
I was always there.
Right.
And seeing my son pick it back up, because I had 2 other sons that used to fight.
Okay.
But they didn't really last too long in there because other issues,
Okay.
medical issues.
Okay.
But seeing my young son pick it back up, and
I see you pointed in this direction.
yeah,
Yeah.
Philip.
Oh, it's your son.
That's
okay,
my son.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, awesome, gotcha.
You know, he pick it up, and I look at it and I say, well, I got to pass on something.
Yes.
You know,
Gotcha.
give him my experience, and then hopefully he can take it to a different level. And he's doing a good job with it.
Awesome.
You know,
I had Coach Floyd Trumpet and Jaden Eccleston in the studio last week, Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I asked them, you know, what, because, you know, you like to ask the more experienced boxers what they thought of the younger ones, and they were quite impressed with them both. And even Coach Trumpet, he said, you know, I liked what I saw. He said, the arena is big enough for so many, and he enjoyed watching them fight. He also said that you have done a fantastic job based on what he saw. Yeah, so he gave you guys a lot of credit, and I appreciated that coming from another boxing association as well. Yeah, he's like, I didn't coach them, and what I saw, I liked what I saw. So kudos to Coach Fillmore.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, good
Thank
stuff.
you. Thank you.
What specific training strategies did you use to prepare them for these fights, and how did you tailor your approach to each fighter?
Okay, well, everyone basically get the same training.
Okay.
Same work.
Yeah.
I don't change nobody work.
Okay.
Everybody train the same way.
All right.
You know, it's very hard to really train. Sometimes we have like 10, 15 kids training at the same
Gotcha.
time. So you can really focus on one
Yeah.
or two. When we're coming up to fight dates, then sometime I change up
Okay. Certain
schedule.
things, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they.
To prepare them different.
Yeah, I would think so, because they probably each have different skill sets,
Yeah.
right, that are unique to them. Yeah. How many, like, what are their miles of road work?
Oh.
Yeah. Look. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Look at.
They do a lot of
They're like, don't talk about it. It hurts just talking about it.
Yeah, they do a lot of road work.
Yeah.
We do a lot of stairs.
Yeah.
We run a lot on the stairs. We do a lot of track.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know what? Stick a pin. Let me hear from them. Let
Okay,
them tell
sure.
us. Tell us about your road. You sighed. It was a huge gasp. Tell us about your road work and your strengthening and health. You know, all the healthy things that you eat and stuff to help prepare you for big fights like this.
Well, we run a lot.
Mhm.
Most of our training is running.
Yes.
Every day we run.
Yeah.
Every single day. Well, for me to prepare, I gotta eat good because my metabolism is like very bad. So anything that I eat, I put on weight. So every time when fight time come, I just I'm overweight, so I gotta train
Okay.
hard for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I gotta eat healthy, so I don't put on too much weight. But our training is very hard.
Yeah.
We do a lot of hard work and road work.
But it pays off in the end, right?
Yes.
I mean, even though it's very difficult, when you perform like you performed that weekend, you realize, all right, coach, I don't like them running. I don't like the running, but it really paid off. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Sounds good. So, can you share the mindset you had going into this fight, Philip?
The mindset that I had, I gonna win.
Yeah.
I'm going to win.
Yeah.
Because I didn't came all the way from Cayman just to lose.
Right.
So yeah, all of my family was watching the fight, so I said I had
You turned it on.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you, Matthew?
Win.
Yeah, same.
Win. I know I have family watching, like you said.
Yeah.
And I wanted to come back to Cayman with a gold medal in my hands.
Yeah, most definitely. Awesome. Good. And what are your goals going forward? What's next for these guys? I know you all have a lot on your plate? Like you said, you're taking a couple of guys to Jamaica on April 25th.
Yeah.
What about these two?
Well, we're preparing for an event in June.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's June 10th.
Okay.
In the Cayman Islands.
Okay, nice.
They're going to be performing under card with some professional fights.
Okay.
That they're going to have from England. So I think they're going to be fighting some guys from England this time.
Ah, so that's a totally different arena.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you compare these fights you competed in Jamaica to your first one? Your very first fight.
Well, my very first fight, I wasn't as conditioned as I am now.
Mhm.
This is the fittest I've ever been.
Nice.
Yeah, so it feels a lot better now knowing that I'm going into the fight, physically fit and,
Let me ask you guys a question. Why boxing? Why do you box?
Because it only take one man
Mhm.
to win the fight.
Mhm.
So like you don't depend on nobody else.
He was just ready to answer that. I love it. Go ahead. Sorry.
You don't depend on nobody else. You
Mhm.
trust yourself,
Yeah.
and that make you believe in yourself. That's why I like boxing.
Okay, awesome. Matthew?
yeah, same thing you said, you depend on yourself. It's a very lonely sport,
Mhm.
but, it's just...
What makes you want to get up in the morning and think boxing, get into a ring, and want to get your face punched or punch somebody else? Yeah, what motivates you or inspires you to get up in the morning to want to do that?
Because I think, because you have to always have the same mentality from the time you start. So you always gotta remember why do you start boxing. Yes, ma'am. So you gotta think about your goals.
Why did you start?
I started because I wanna be a world champion.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you?
Helps a lot with stress.
Yeah.
And I don't know, some people are just born with the passion to fight. Some
Right.
people are just born fighters.
Mhm.
And for me, I can tell I have a heart for the sport.
Awesome. Who has motivated you or influenced you?
Definitely family.
Family.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you look up to is there any professional boxer that you like?
I like Inoue. I like Shakur Stevenson and I Gervonta Tank Davis.
Okay.
I look up to them.
Okay. And you?
I grew up
Matthew?
watching Manny Pacquiao.
Manny?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Coach? Who did you like?
I used to like Evander Holyfield.
Okay.
He was one of my favorite fighters.
Yes.
He's a strong fighter, and he come from a light heavyweight and go and win heavyweight champion of
Yes.
the world. And he fight one of the baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson.
Yes.
And
yes.
beat him.
Yeah.
So looking at somebody coming from that small weight and going up to a bigger weight to beat somebody like a world champion
Yes.
proved to me that he's a man.
Yeah.
That believing in himself, that could win anything.
And as boxers as yourselves, how did you react to hearing the news of George Foreman that passed away recently?
Yeah, I felt bad because, I didn't really know exactly what caused his death.
Right.
But I used to watch him a lot too.
Yes.
And he was, I used to look up to him a lot too.
Yes.
Because he's a strong fighter. And he never really disappeared from the sport, although he had get beat. He left for a while, but he came back.
Yeah.
To prove that, at his age, he could become a world champion again.
Yes.
So that inspired me. Just seeing that happen, show me that I could come back and I could give these guys show these guys my talent and show them, other things, what can become the future for them from being around me.
What kind of mentality do you have to want to be a boxer, you'd say?
Okay. Self-discipline.
Yeah.
You got to be disciplined to be a fighter. You can't just get up and say, oh, I want to be a fighter.
Yeah.
And just go there and go be a fighter. You have to discipline yourself.
Yes.
It's going to be times, sometimes you get up and like, oh, I don't feel like do this, I don't feel like do that. But once you start do the exercise and you go through all of the hard work, you see things start to improve, then that will make you feel like you want to go further with it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back right after this.
Easter vacation is just around the corner, and Cayman Airways has added multiple extra flights to some of your favorite destinations, some of mine too. Look here, they got seats available now for booking on Xtra Easter flights between Grand Cayman and Kingston, La Ceiba, Miami, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and you can even catch a non-stop flight to Montego Bay for Easter. Check it out. You can visit CaymanAirways.com, contact a local travel agent, or call Cayman Airways Reservations on 949-2311. And don't wait too long though, because these extra Easter seats always sell fast. Be sure to add your Sir Turtle Rewards number to your booking so you can earn more miles for more free trips this year. Well, I know where I'm going. I'll see you on board a uniquely Caymanian airline for Easter.
The Water Authority invites its Cayman Brac customers to join the celebration. The Authority's distribution network has now reached Spot Bay. To mark this milestone, the Authority will host a special customer event on Wednesday, the 9th of April, at the entrance of Long Beach from 3:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. Attendees can register for pipe water service and enter to win one of 3 Water Authority gift certificates valued at $500, $250, and $100. Join us to celebrate this achievement for Cayman Brac.
Shaken yet standing firm.
I was not built to break.
This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
All right, welcome back to Radio Cayman Sports Extra. Just 4 more minutes just to talk a little bit more about training. I know you guys have been coached under Coach Fillmore Barnett for over 9 months now. And tell us, how has he helped shape your performance in the ring?
It's just a regiment he has for us. He has a very hard regiment. Like, it's almost like we're doing army training.
Okay.
You know, we're always running. And it doesn't matter what we're doing. If we work on the bog, we'll do like 10 rounds on the bog. Right after that, go straight into sprints. So the training we have is very high pace, because in the amateurs, you have to. We're sprinters. We're not marathoners like professionals.
Right.
So it's a very high pace. You always have to be punching and moving. So sprinting will help a lot with that.
How do you, both of you, see your role in inspiring other Cayman athletes to pursue competitive boxing? How do you see your role in inspiring other Caymanians, right? So how do you see yourselves inspiring other young athletes to pick up boxing and compete, take it on competitively?
Yeah, I mean, I see myself inspiring people a lot every day.
Yeah.
Because in school, you know, they always tell me they want to box, and I've seen a lot of people in school come to the gym and they've lost like a lot of weight from boxing.
Okay, awesome.
And they learn discipline. So.
Okay, all right, sounds good. And what did you say they have next? There's June 10th.
Yeah, June 10th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after this fight that you guys had on the weekend, what have you all been doing since? Is it just resting?
No, we're back in training.
You're back in training now.
I have other kids that is in training also.
Right.
Preparing for this
event. For the
event.
June 10th as well?
No, the 25th.
The 25th.
Of this month, yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
So he's back in training. He's back in training tomorrow. So because, you know, we need at least 2 months to really,
of course,
prepare, because when you're going into a next fight, you don't know who you're going up against.
Right.
You know, could be strong fighters, could be weak fighters, but you always prepare for the worst.
So is this like another a gloves over guns initiative fight, or something different?
The one in Jamaica?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So with these fights, you don't know who you're going to face until when?
No, until you get there.
Until you get there. Okay.
Does that go? We get a schedule. You know who you match against.
Okay.
But
you don't know that.
You don't see the person
fighter
until you really get there.
Okay. Awesome. So you have to go in there with a different mindset.
Yeah, you have to be in every event that you go to. You have to be in that. You have to have that mindset.
Which is probably an advantage in a sense, because when you know the player, you prepare so much. Sometimes you can over prepare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going in blindsided, you just going one mentality. I must win.
So
no
that's
matter
why
what.
you know.
Yeah, somewhat it could be an advantage as well, as well as a disadvantage, some may say. But Coach, how does the success of Cayman boxers at events like this reflect the development of boxing here in the Cayman Islands?
Well, it boxing like put on the shelf for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, you had some coaches that pick it up, but it wasn't really going anywhere.
Right.
And that's why, in a way, I really come back and try to put effort into it to see if I can get it going. We have good promoters now.
Right.
That Elite, Mike and Barry from
yes. Yeah,
those
fights
guys.
Are good.
Yeah, they're doing a lot for the sport.
Okay.
And we need to really acknowledge them, because if it wasn't for them, the sport would die.
Yeah.
Because we don't really get nothing from government right now.
Right now. Okay.
So it's all private.
Okay.
So they're doing a very, very good job of helping us and helping the boys them get
Stay
experience
afloat,
and go off to other places and taking them off the street, basically, because if you have 10, 15 guys off of the street, that's less for them to really get on the street, get in trouble or anything like that,
Like
so,
for those who are listening for the very first time, how can they get in touch with you, or how can they join your program? What days, time?
Okay, I train Monday to Friday, 5 days a week.
Okay.
My training sessions start at 5
in
the evening until 7:30.
Okay.
It's very high intense, but my telephone number is 916-3010.
Okay.
And
I was going to write it down, but I haven't.
Yeah. Okay. And I try to focus on the younger kids, like 14, 15, 16, because those are the guys that. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Those are the guys that are going to participate in events that can maybe one day make it to the Olympics.
Right.
When you try to take on older fighters or older people, it doesn't work in the amateur game.
Okay.
Because when you go like 20, 21, 22, 23 going up, they're really passing their amateur time.
Right.
So you really want to focus on the 14, 15, 16, where you can prepare them for different games like the Pan Am Games, the CAC Games and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Caribbean Championship and the Golden Gloves and stuff like that, because we can compete in those games.
Yes.
And I think next year we're planning to compete in the Golden Gloves.
Sounds good. You ready for it?
Of course.
Oh, yeah. All right. Sounds good.
So,
thank you. Thank you very much for coming on Radio Cayman Sports Extra.
Sure.
I appreciate you. We got to get you back on just to talk a little bit more about that Olympic gold. Goal. Not gold. Well, gold, but the goal to get there.
Yeah.
All right. We got to talk about that. That's amazing. The people of the Cayman Islands need to hear, what goes into the program, and how that training, what kind of training you're going to be doing to prepare for the Olympics, right? I would love to hear about it. So that's it for tonight's edition of Sports Extra. Thanks so much for Cayman Basketball and Cayman Elite Boxing Federation for stopping by here at Radio Cayman. If you would like the opportunity to be featured on our show, please feel free to email me at Cayman or sportsextracayman@gmail.com. All the different Caymans are confuffling my mind. All right, so you can check out our Radio Cayman Sports Extra social media pages just to keep abreast of all things that's going on with Cayman, every different sport we cover. So keep abreast of those things, Facebook, YouTube, and of course Instagram. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Dionne Anglin. Good night. God bless.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Sports Extra. From 7 to 8 p.m., highlights of local sports around the Cayman Islands. Sports Extra.
It's amazing to see the improvement of the team.
Sports Extra, keeping you informed.
since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.